So, I've been divorced for 5 years and share 2 boys with my ex. They're 17 and 15, and I had them every other weekend. I started dating my fiancée 2 years ago, and the boys never really liked her, but I figured with the custody schedule they just didn't have enough time to get to know her. They've made some rude comments in the past, which have been addressed. Everything was alright until this weekend. My fiancée was taking a shower and just started screaming. She has some special purple shampoo for blondes, and I guess they put purple dye in it. The boys thought it was funny, and she left in tears and told me she would never be in the house with him again. I yelled at them, but they showed no remorse. Well, her hair was salvageable, but I guess it is hard to go lighter, so going from purple to blonde caused a lot of issues. I returned the switch I bought them and made them pay for the damage just on principle, but she says she will never be in a house with him again. The more I think about it, she's right. I wouldn't want to live somewhere I didn't feel comfortable, so I told them that was their last weekend at my house. We can meet up and spend time together, but she is going to be my wife very soon and shouldn't have to live like that. Neither of them had much of a reaction, but my ex called me up screaming that I'm putting my midlife crisis over my sons. Update. Well, she was on the phone with her sister crying all night because she didn't think I meant what I said. Well, I did, and I'm not going to lose her over this. We had a talk, and I'm standing by what I said. This is not my marital home. It's not the home they grew up in, and I might look into a cheap apartment or hotel, but she is not going to have to go through this again. The truth is, I tried to do the right thing for years, and I was ducking miserable. She is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. No one who makes her cry like that is ever allowed in my home again. Final update. I'm done. They've absolutely no remorse, even when I tried to explain the effect it had on her, so I'm washing my hands of the situation. I had a great night with my fiancée, and I promised her a nice trip when the virus is over. I do recognize that she needs help with her anxiety, but that's going to be completely independent of this. You're the a-hole. A couple of teenagers played a dumb prank. Your girlfriend can dye over her hair until it grows out. Not cool, but just ground them or something. Also, I totally get your girlfriend being upset. I'm a hairstylist, and my hair is very important to me. But her response was way over the top. Sounds like she's maybe not used to kids, but since you had them first, that's sort of her problem to get over. Edit. Also, you went into this relationship knowing your sons didn't like her. If it hasn't stopped by now, there's probably a bigger reason that needs addressing. It's your problem to fix as much, if not more so, as it is theirs. Everyone sucks here, except your fiancé. Hear me out. Those boys are old enough to know better, and I'm glad you made them pay for the damages of her hair, because that stuff is expensive. However, I will go so far as to say you also suck, and here's why. You have very limited time with these boys, and your home should also be their home. And if there's a custody agreement that says they must stay with you every other weekend, then you might even be breaking that agreement. But that's a whole different issue. But the major reason that would make this and everyone sucks here is because there's an obvious underlying issue that these boys have against your fiancé, and it doesn't sound, based on your post, that you've addressed it. You need to talk to them, calmly and with an open mind, why they dislike her, that you want their input on your marriage, and to work out whatever unaddressed issues these boys have with you two as a couple. If it's truly that these boys are just being jerks just to be jerks, then I would lean towards not the a-hole. But it's rarely the case with teenagers. Something is wrong, and it's your job as their parent to at least try to find out what it is. Edit after OP's update. I'm really concerned with this update. It's like he didn't even take anyone's advice on here, which was overwhelmingly talk to your kids. You're the a-hole. So your children aren't welcome in your home because your fiancé got some unwanted purple hair? Do you understand how ridiculous this sounds? My 20 female parents broke up in 2010 because my dad cheated with his girlfriend Jay, and my mom found out. I was actually happy about that because it meant I would see my dad much less. My siblings and I stayed with my mom. We didn't have a good relationship because he tried to compensate my over-permissive mother with tough love. My siblings more or less accepted that as something normal, and my mom didn't do much about it either. My parents hated each other's guts, so we moved to the other side of the country in 2014. I became severely depressed and begged my dad to let me move in with him. He declined. After that, we didn't have much contact. In 2018, I graduated, moved out, went to uni, and tried to mend the relationship with my father. I see him from time to time. We still fight, though, because he can't let things go. He always brings up my mother and the divorce and how I took her side. I didn't. I just stayed out of it altogether. About a year ago, I asked him why I should even have taken his side. After all, he had spent my childhood roughing me up and had never made an effort to visit me. And when I had asked to stay with him, he had declined. He apologized for the way he handled me when I was younger by saying, "I regret it. I should have known your mother's influence was too strong and it wouldn't do anything." He then said he only kept me away because he didn't want me to screw up another of his relationships. He blames me for not only his failed marriage, but also for Jay breaking up with him. I was super confused. My mom, I understand a little. I guess I'm somewhat responsible for the rift between my parents. I would always hide behind her, whether he tried to discipline me or told me to clean my room or whatever. Still, it's not like I caused all their marital problems. Jay, however, I only met twice, and I didn't talk to her, which was rude, I guess, but not the problem. So my dad explained it to me. I don't remember this, but apparently I once said to my mom, with my dad and Jay nearby, "Please make Dad stay away on Christmas." According to my father, this shocked Jay so thoroughly she broke up with him a few months later. I was either 11 or 12 when this happened, and I don't remember it, but I can imagine myself saying this at that age. I definitely didn't say it with the intent to hurt his relationship, though, as he claims I did. I would remember that. I wrote him an angry mail in which I defended myself. I could only cry and shout on the phone because I was so angry. He dismissed everything I said, and also added that I had robbed him of his hypothetical children with Jay. Since then, we haven't talked about it, but I still think of it from time to time. At first, I was convinced I'm in the right. Now, I have my doubts. I didn't mean to break them up, but it might still be my fault. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and your dad is an idiot. Marriages break up for lots of reasons, but normally not because of a child or anything like you described. Dad appears to have failed at multiple relationships, and that should tell you something. Not the a-hole. Kids say their heart, and that was how you felt. Jay rightfully saw children disliking their father enough to not want him around on Christmas as a red flag, and I sincerely doubt it was the only red flag. At most, your comment helped her notice the other red flags. Not the a-hole. There is no way that it was your fault. You were so young. From how you described your dad, it sounds like he disciplined you harshly, and you looked to your mother for comfort, which she gave you. With this dynamic in the house and the fact that he was the one that cheated, I don't know if that influenced your decision at the time. It is perfectly natural to want to be with your mother over your father. If you didn't even want to see him for Christmas, that is all I need to know, that he treated you badly enough to alienate his own kids from him. The girlfriend Jay left because if your dad's own kids don't want to be with him, then she realized that there was a dark side to your dad that she hasn't seen and doesn't want to see. You probably saved her from suffering from his aggression once the relationship progressed far enough. My husband's sister has always hated me and gone out of her way to be catty. My husband and I have a lot of marital issues, and she is at the root of a lot of them. He tells her everything, and then she injects herself, and she's really just horrible. I've known her since she was 16, and she was pretty average looking when she was younger. But in her early 20s, she had a lot of work done and went from average to stunning. She had no way of paying for this and went into huge debt, so she had to find a rich man. She married someone very well off and now makes fun of me for not living the same life as her. They came over last night, and within an hour of being there, she had insulted my marriage, my appearance, and made a joke about how my husband must not love me because I have to work. After dinner, I brought out a photo album and accidentally opened it to a picture of her before the surgery. I didn't think her husband would even realize it was her, but he mistook her for a cousin and said, "Wow, cousin's name," went through an awkward phase, and sister-in-law just burst into tears. I did try to talk to her after the fact, but she was crying in her husband's arms, like being cradled in his arms like a toddler, and she wouldn't talk to me. My husband is furious and said I'm a disgusting person. Everyone sucks here, but I'm going to focus on your husband for this. Why is he not defending you in your marriage? Why does he tell her everything? Your transgression is minor, so why is he furious? He needs to man up and tell her to stop. He told me at the wedding not to compete with his sister. They don't have a dad, and I need to think of her more as a stepchild, though he doesn't treat her like his child, and that she was non-negotiable. He said what I did was cruel because her self-esteem is so bad. Everyone sucks here. While I think yes, the a-hole for intentionally causing that situation, I love that you did it. You showed her you have claws too, and maybe she might think twice before being so mean to you next time. I'm a petty enough person that if she decides to get even later, I'd hang the photo in my living room. Not the a-hole. Lots of people here are expecting you to be the bigger person. Why? You've taken relentless aggression from this woman. She has to put you down so she can feel better about herself. She has insulted your marriage and appearance, which is funny because what she sees in the mirror is actually a fake image of herself. At least her husband didn't seem to show any negativity towards her new look. Sister-in-law is insecure enough to burst into tears. If she's so sensitive about her appearance, she should stop criticizing others on theirs. Sister-in-law is a jerk and had it coming. You didn't do anything to her that she hasn't done to you. In fact, you didn't even call her ugly. You simply showed an old picture of her. Also, what's up with your husband? His sister is constantly insulting you and your marriage to him, and he just allows it to happen? He has no spine. Context. My girlfriend and I have been together for just over 9 years. When I met her, we both had pretty stable and well-paying jobs within the same industry, though at different companies. 4 years into our relationship, I decided I wanted to leave and start my own competing business. I felt as though my career wasn't progressing. I had made a lot of useful contacts working there, and quite frankly, that I could do a better job than my employer, which was full of dead weight. I had a lot of money saved up, but needed more to really get started, so naturally looked to getting a bank loan. At the time, I asked if my girlfriend would be willing to co-sign, since I'd be able to get a better interest rate, and we both planned on getting married eventually anyway. I haven't proposed, but we've talked about it lots before, and there's no doubt she'd say yes. My girlfriend refused because she didn't feel comfortable taking on the debt, and I left it at that. I never pushed her beyond an initial ask. Moving forward to now, my business has been enormously successful, owing to some extremely helpful friends of mine along with a lot of hard work. The topic of marriage recently comes up since her younger sister just got married, and she wanted to make it official. I agreed and asked if she would be willing to sign a prenup concerning my business, specifically to protect not just my current business value, but also future growth over the course of our marriage. I have no problem with excluding marital assets like a house, savings, etc., which I'd be happy to split 50-50. This caused the largest fight, in which she accused me of being greedy, cynical, and just an all-around a-hole for even asking for a prenup. In her words, "What the duck does till death do us part mean to you?" I don't think I did anything wrong. My girlfriend was unwilling to take the risk when I started my business by co-signing the loan, so I think it's fair to protect it in case our marriage fails. For further background, my girlfriend has never had anything to do with the business despite working in the same industry. Not the a-hole. She wasn't willing to take on the risk of debt, and rightly so. You also shouldn't be obliged to take on the risk of losing the value of your business in the event of your marriage failing. I'd suggest talking to her again, calmly, and explain that you're not planning on your marriage failing, but you're just being realistic and giving your business some protection in the event that life takes some unexpected turns, which it can. Point out to her that if your marriage did fail in the future, you'd lose everything, so you're just trying to ensure that whatever life throws at you, you'd at least still have one thing to keep you going. Officially, no a-hole, but leaning towards you're the a-hole. It sounds like this is your way of getting back at her for not co-signing. From what you've written, that sounds like your motivation. If that's true, you're the a-hole. Also, your business is your job. I assume that's your only income. Yet, you want a prenup that prevents her from seeing any benefits from its growth during the marriage. I see that impacting the marriage in major ways. Do you plan to have children? If so, that will impact her career, her maternity leave, and if she is the default person for child illnesses, appointments, etc., most likely will affect her job growth. Just realize she would be crazy to sideline her career in favor of your business if the situation warrants. Don't expect she will put the needs of your company over her own career, because that will screw her over if the marriage fails. Officially, no a-hole. It was reasonable of her to not want to co-sign a loan. That's a huge risk. But you do seem a bit resentful of that. To say that any future growth would not benefit your spouse? I mean, that's your job, your income. Is there also a clause for hers? Even if she didn't take on debt, did she not help in other ways that contributed to the success of your venture? If you used up all your savings, weren't you living with her support? I'd personally agree with her outlook, till death, and if not, then you both leave with half. Some people see prenups as protection in worst-case scenarios. Others, a lack of faith in the marriage. Your words make your relationship seem transactional. Not saying it is, but "she didn't support me, so she won't see the fruits of my labor" isn't what I'd want to hear from the one I'm planning to spend the rest of my days with. Basically, my brother cheated on his wife and she kicked him out. So he called me, and I picked him up, grabbed his stuff she threw in the yard, and brought him to my house. He has been staying here, and I helped him get a lawyer. He has the visitation here while they go through the divorce. My nephews are here every other weekend. They're fighting over the house and such, which he should get because it was inherited and not marital property. Anyway, of course my sister-in-law hates me, but I am surprised my sister and grown son are pissed at me. I shouldn't help a cheater, blah blah. They can't visit because he is here and he's a bad person all of a sudden. I told my son and sister he is still the same man that paid for your first car and helped with college, son, and helped you with money whenever you needed it, sis. And I don't care what they think. He is my brother, and I will help him all I can. They are calling me an a-hole and being jerks to me. Am I the a-hole? No a-hole. Your brother is lucky to have someone who is able to look past his flaws. But that said, it's understandable why the rest of your family are pissed at him, and you, by extension, for not holding him accountable in their eyes. Which he should get because it was inherited and not marital property. I mean, maybe. Depends on the laws where you live. But maybe he should have thought about that before he cheated on his wife. I shouldn't help a cheater, blah blah. They can't visit because he is here and he's a bad person all of a sudden. I mean, he isn't a bad person all of a sudden. He has been a bad person since he started cheating on his wife. You just didn't know it until recently. That said, comment of "shouldn't help a cheater" is nuts. He made a mistake, A massive and selfish one, but still just a mistake. He doesn't deserve to be homeless and ostracized because he cheated, and you're a good sibling to help him out. Just don't coddle him or soften the fact that he did a horrible thing, and he deserves to feel crappy about his choices. No a-hole. Well, your brother is an a-hole for cheating on his wife, but in terms of you or your sister and son, no a-holes.